What have you found in your work to be the most effective way of communicating? The stage, TV, online, film. What is the most effective way you're finding yourself gelling with lately?
That's an interesting question. One of the things that I have noticed about society today, and I think it is in part a result of social media, is that people have segmented themselves over into silos of their interest. And so it isn't so much about weighing which way is the most effective. It is about throwing the broadest net to hit different people group who like to receive communication in their format. People who are TV people are going to be loyal TV people. People who are social media people are going to be very loyal to be on social media. Then there's the movie buffs, and then there's the book readers. And sometimes the person who loves to go to movies is not the person who loves to read books. So what it is really about, it's letting each man hear you speak in their own language. Only instead of thinking of glossolalia and languages of the world, think of the languages of communication, like streaming, like providing podcasts, like providing books to read, whether ebooks or hard books. The more diversified you are, you're going to hit those particular groups who have choices like no other generation has ever had before.
I'm curious to know, when you look at the languages that you like to speak through, over time, maybe let's just say the last decade, how have you seen artistic changes happen in those streams as you share specifically the message of Christ?
Oh, it's changed drastically. The millennials have taken over, and it is not in our day coming up. It was about how eloquent you were and how articulate and profound and prolific and how you were able to phrase and to paint pictures with words. And the more you were adept at being able to communicate through various means of vocal expression and oratorical ability, the better off you were.
That's right.
Here comes a generation who's used to speaking in 142 characters. So less is more. The more simplistic, the more straight to the point, the more you don't have to be as dramatic. It's more of a teaching atmosphere. I find as a pastor, it is not so much the profundity of your preaching, but the practicality of your message. Is it applicable? Is it relevant to them? Making that information usable for everyday life has become the secret sauce for our ministry and our church. I find that a lot of the millennial generation have never had the consistent voice of a father. So sometimes they don't come to church because you're the pastor, because they have no point of reference for that, but they do have a father hunger and an opportunity to have you unfold things that maybe they didn't get from the school or the university. I mean things as practical as how to manage your money, right down to how to stay with your wife. Just very practical things. It's not eschatology. It's not Solomon's temple. It's not teaching about the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. They want to know, how do I raise my children? How do I maintain my faith at work? How can I use my faith as I go into an entrepreneurial pursuit and I don't have the resources I need to get it there? It's been much differently from my day. We wanted to know what was the shittim wood in the tabernacle and you know,
Yes, sir.
what did the golden vials mean and the trumpets and the bowls and the Feast of Weeks and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You will lose this generation in that kind of stuff. You can use it, but you have to tie it back into something that is usable, snackable contents of information, and sometimes breaking it down on social media into 2-minute clips where they don't have all day. The attention span is not that long. You have to think of a supplement, a vitamin, rather than a smorgasbord.
How is, in your thoughts, how is and why is faith in film so important, so popular? It's growing in momentum. Hollywood's gotten the thirst, the taste for it.
Yes.
It's reaching so much more people. What's the power in faith in film?
First of all, Hollywood has discovered that we exist, that there is a market for it. And though their momentum may not be induced by their desire to reach the world, it is really for profit margins. They have discovered that there are people that exist outside of the orbit of Hollywood and New York who really like to ingest faith-based content. So the quality of the faith-based genre has gone up. They're putting more budgets into it, better directors, better actors are getting involved into it. And more people in and out of faith have shown that they are not offended by faith the way Hollywood was afraid that they would be. And so it has become the new thing. I think it's important because art has always reprimanded life. It has always been the voice of conscience to society. It has always been a place where politics would be reevaluated and scrutinized. And beneath the fabric of being entertaining and edifying, it is also a wonderful opportunity to remind the country, the world, of its moral responsibility, of its responsibility to make the world a better place. And so from the vehicle of film, we can cast images in front of people. I'll tell you in a nutshell why it is ultimately important. When the Bible said, without a vision, the people perish, think about the screen. If we are not represented in a visual way in front of the eyes of people, we lose them. Mark Aroma, and you know them.
Yes, yes, spoken with them, interviewed them. Yeah.
Did you?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
When they first put on Bible stories, I think it was the History Channel, 29 million people watched it the first episode.
That's right.
29 million. I could have preached the same message and got 1 million. That's the power of the screen. If you dramatize it and you do it in a powerful, entertaining way, you go from 1 million to 29 million. Same story, same plot, same Bible, but when you put it on screen, it has huge impact. When you look at The Passion of the Christ that Mel Gibson did, and the unprecedented numbers that he did from a relatively small budget film by their standards, 30 million, as I recall,
That's right.
he reached millions and millions and millions of people around the world, telling what I tell every Sunday to a few thousand. That's the power of taking the message beyond the parameters of the church and translating it to screen in such a way that the world can see it.